She slept 4 hours and woke to the particular quality of desert morning light she had come in 13 days to recognize as hers. The specific angle of it through the east wing shutters, the way it pooled on the stone floor in a shape that changed by the minute, the warmth arriving before the heat. She lay still for a moment and held the previous night in her mind the way she held photographs she hadn't taken yet, as something real and composed and waiting to be understood. His hands on the table, the corridor at 2 a.m. Tomorrow is going to be complicated. She got up, dressed, and went to find out how complicated. Karim was already in the study. He had not, she suspected, slept at all. There was coffee on the desk and a spread of printed documents she didn't have the context to read, and Tariq sat in the chair across from him with the focused sobriety of a man who had been brought into something difficult and was taking it seriously. They both looked up when she entered. Karim's gaze moved over her face with the brief, thorough attention she had learned to read as his version of, "Are you all right?" "Sit down," he said, not unkindly. The voice of someone who has a difficult thing to say and has decided that directness is the only courtesy. She sat. "The 5th person," he said, "who knew your departure schedule, the car booking, the flight time, the terminal, was Rami." She searched her memory. "Your father's senior advisor, the one who found the envelope at the reception." "Yes." Karim's voice was very level. "He has been with my father for 19 years. He managed the logistics of your departure personally, at my father's request, as a courtesy. He is the only person outside this room and Nadia who had access to all the details." "You're certain?" "I verified it this morning, against the car booking system and the palace communications log. There is a message sent from his personal device at 10:47 yesterday morning, 40 minutes after the car was booked, to a number that traces to a communications relay associated with Nassim's private office." The room was very quiet. 19 years, Lara said. "Yes." Tariq looked at his hands. He had the expression of someone who has known something for a few hours and has not yet finished being wounded by it. She understood this. Betrayal from distance was one thing. Betrayal from inside the architecture of daily life, from someone who had sat at family dinners and carried family grief and been trusted with family logistics for 19 years, was a different order of thing entirely. "Does your father know?" she asked. Karim was quiet for a moment that told her everything before he spoke. "Not yet," he said. "I wanted to be completely certain before I brought this to him. My father..." He paused, choosing. "My father has a capacity for loyalty that is one of his greatest qualities, and occasionally one of his vulnerabilities. He will need to receive this carefully." He looked at her. "He will also need to receive it today. We cannot operate with a compromised channel inside the palace while the proceeding is active." "How did Rami connect to Nassim?" Lara asked. 19 years is a long time. Something shifted. Karim nodded slowly. "His son," he said. "Rami has a son, 24, working in the private sector. 3 years ago, the son's company received a significant contract from a holding company that, under 3 layers of corporate structure, belongs to Nasim. He set down the document he'd been holding. It may have begun as gratitude. It may have begun as leverage. At this point, the distinction matters less than the fact. And Yasmin knew about Rami. Yasmin is very thorough, Karim said, with a flatness that contained a great deal. She would have identified every vulnerability in the palace's information architecture before she made her move. Rami was not a coincidence. He was a resource she had prepared in advance. Lara thought about the carved box of lens filters delivered to her door, the exact specifications, the knowledge of her plateau schedule, the photographs taken at distance with a long lens, the message on the plane, all of it requiring information that had to come from inside. All of it assembled with the patient precision of someone who had been building this for months. "She's been planning this since before I arrived," Lara said. "Before I was even a variable." "The plateau accreditation vulnerability predates you by months," Karim said. "You were not the plan. You were an opportunity that arrived inside a plan that was already in motion." He paused. "Which means the plan continues, regardless of what happens to you, or to the proceeding." "What's the rest of it?" she said. "What haven't you told me yet?" He looked at her steadily, then at Tariq, who gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. The nod of a younger brother deferring to an older one on a decision already made. "Nasim's lawyers filed a counterclaim this morning," Karim said, "against me personally, alleging that the evidence, your photograph, the authentication, was fabricated. That I arranged the kidnapping to create a pretext for detaining you, and that the photograph was staged or manipulated to produce false evidence in a proceeding designed to eliminate a business competitor." He said it very calmly, the way he said things that cost him. "That's insane," Lara said, for the second time in as many days. "It is also, as Tariq noted when I first told him, effective," Karim said, "because it cannot be instantly disproved. Because it uses the photographs from the plateau, the ones Yasmin had taken, as supporting evidence. Because it puts my relationship with you at the center of a narrative about compromised evidence." A pause. "And because it will take time to unpick, during which the proceeding is suspended and Nasim has room to move." She sat with it. The whole architecture of it, the months of preparation, the layers, the way each piece had been positioned to serve multiple purposes simultaneously. The kidnapping that was also a pressure point, the rescue that became a liability, the marriage that became a weapon. The photograph she had taken without knowing what she was taking, now being used against the man it was meant to protect. She thought about Yasmin on the steps in the burgundy robe on the first night, doing her rapid calculations, and understood now that those calculations had begun long before that night. "She's brilliant," Lara said quietly. It wasn't admiration. It was the assessment you made of a threat you needed to understand accurately. "Yes," Karim said. "And she underestimated one thing." "What?" Lara looked at him. "Me. She planned for the journalist. She planned for the guest, the liability, the diplomatic problem. She did not plan for someone who would stay, who would come back." She held his gaze. "And she did not plan for the fact that the photograph she's trying to use as evidence of fabrication has EXIF data, placing it in a specific location at a specific time on a specific camera body with a serial number registered to me that I can verify in front of any court in the world. She built her counter-narrative around a photograph without understanding what a photograph actually is. Karim looked at her for a long moment. Something in his expression had the quality of light changing, the way it changed on the plateau at the moment the sun fully cleared the horizon, the abrupt shift from possible to certain. "My legal team needs to speak with you today," he said. "I know. I'm ready." Tariq, who had been sitting in focused silence for the better part of 40 minutes, suddenly put his face in his hands. Both Lara and Karim looked at him. "Are you all right?" Lara asked. "I'm fine," Tariq said from behind his hands. "I'm just..." He emerged. His expression was the particular combination of distress and involuntary delight that she had come to associate with Tariq encountering situations that were simultaneously terrible and narratively extraordinary. "I need to note," he said with great dignity, "that I have been present for every significant development in this entire situation, and no one has once asked my opinion on any of it. I also need to note that my opinion, had it been solicited, would have been correct at every stage." Karim looked at his brother with an expression that was trying very hard not to be fond and was not entirely succeeding. "Your opinion on what specifically?" "On all of it," Tariq said, "but particularly on her." He pointed at Lara. "I told you at the airport, on the first morning. I said he would like you." He settled back in his chair with the satisfaction of a man whose record is unblemished. "I am never wrong about these things."
The meeting with Sheikh Faisal happened at 10. Karim delivered the information about Rami with the precise, careful steadiness of a son who loves his father and knows that love is not always enough to prevent pain, only to be present in it. The sheikh listened without interrupting. His face did not change in the ways that ordinary faces changed. The change happened somewhere deeper, in the quality of his stillness, the way the stillness became heavier as the account progressed. When Karim finished, the sheikh was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Bring me Rami." Lara was not present for that meeting. She did not need to be. She sat in the corridor outside with her camera in her lap, not shooting, just holding, and listened to the silence of a room containing a confrontation she could imagine clearly enough and did not need to witness. Karim came out 40 minutes later. He sat beside her in the corridor. He did not speak immediately. She did not ask him to. "He wept," Karim said, finally. He said he believed he was protecting his son, that Nassim had made it clear the contract could be revoked at any time, that the alternative to cooperation was his son's company being destroyed. "My father told him that there is no protection that is built on betrayal, that protecting one person by exposing others to danger is not protection. It is a different kind of harm." "What happens to him?" she asked. "He will be removed from his position. The matter of criminal liability is now with the legal team. My father also said..." He stopped. Something in his expression shifted to the more personal register. He said that Rami had been a good man for 19 years, and that what Nassim had done to him, using his son as a lever, was its own form of crime. That the full account would be taken. He looked at the floor. My father he is a fair man, even when fairness is difficult. She looked at him sitting beside her in the corridor and thought about the son who had gone to Oxford and come home to a role and a grief and a gap, and about the father who separated professional from personal and received difficult truths without letting them make him less than he was, and about the family this was, and what it had cost and what it held. She thought, I came to photograph ruins. She thought, I found something that is not ruined at all. She put her hand over his on the corridor bench, the way he had put his hand over hers on the kitchen table the night before. The same gesture, returned, a small, perfect reciprocity. He looked at their hands and then at her, and she looked back at him, and the morning light came through the latticed window above them and fell in its familiar geometric pattern, and she thought, this is the photograph. Not the one on the plateau, not the one in the kitchen, not the one at the checkpoint or on the stairs. This one. The one in the ordinary light of an ordinary corridor, the morning after the hardest night, when two people are sitting with what is difficult and not pretending it isn't, and still, despite all of it, choosing each other. She didn't take it. She stayed in it. She was getting better at that. She was with Karim's legal team for 3 hours that afternoon, going through the EXIF data and the chain of custody and the sequence of events from the plateau road to the present. They were thorough and precise, and she gave them everything they needed with the focused efficiency of someone who understood that this was the work now, that the camera had seen something true, and her job was to make sure the truth was visible to the people who needed to see it. She was walking back through the main hall at 4 o'clock when she heard her name, her full name, in a voice she recognized with a cold clarity that was entirely distinct from anything she had felt in 13 days of considerable clarity. She turned. Yasmin was standing in the entrance of the main hall, immaculate in gray, composed in the way that very controlled people were composed when they were also afraid. The composure wound slightly too tight, the stillness slightly too studied. She was not alone. Behind her, one step back, stood a man in a ministry suit with the expression of someone executing an instruction he would have preferred not to have been given. Miss Voss, Yasmin said. Her voice was perfect. Her eyes were not. I'd like to talk to you. Alone. I think we can help each other. Lara looked at her. She thought about frame 38 and the box of filters and the photograph on the plane and everything Yasmin had built and aimed and deployed over months of careful preparation. She thought about what it meant that Yasmin was here now, in the main hall, saying, I think we can help each other, and understood that it meant only one thing. Something had broken in the architecture of her plan, and she needed a way out, and she had decided, with the particular calculation of someone who had always believed they were the most intelligent person available, that Lara was it. Next chapter. The offer. Yasmin's offer had 3 parts. The first was information. The second was a name Lara hadn't heard before. The third was the thing that made Lara understand that Yasmin, for all her precision, had never fully understood what she was dealing with.